Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am showcasing the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month for January 2023. It is huge. This is the Club Blooms die set, 24 pieces. I'm going to make one super elaborate card and one simple, and I'm going to show you each and every die and what it looks like die cut out and how you can layer up these blooms. Now, there are so many different ways you can actually do this. You can elaborate or just go off on your own and create a flower that you like using these pieces. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I'm showing you. So like these two flowers right here, you could layer the larger with the smaller and have a double layered flower. Here's one that I love. I think this is my favorite from the set. You can put the little centerpiece in there and then put the outside of the flower around, and it gives it a really three-dimensional look. I think it's very cool. Yeah, I'm using this on both cards today. All right, next we have this flower where you die cut two of this like helicopter looking piece and then you offset them, and you could do this with two different colors if you like, but it really gives it a nice dimensional effect. Also, there are these centers for the flower. You could put this on any of the flowers, and it has a layering piece, but you could use one or the other, and you could also do them in different colors. These little flowers right here are really fun to fill in those spaces. And then there's a die that cuts out, I don't even know how many centers of different sizes for your flowers. So that's very cool. You have this other bloom here that looks great with the stem that comes in this set. And then we have some simple, smaller blooms, and you get so many and different sizes, and you can use that same die for the centers of these flowers. Okay, there's this cute little die right here, and it has a die that really coordinates with it in greenery. So it can look like a little spray of cotton, a little spray of berries, a little spray of blooms, like whatever you want it to look like, and you just glue those on, and there's a little tip of green that sticks up the top. All of these dies have like cut lines in them that give your die cuts a lot of detail. And like you don't have to add in. I just love that about Spellbinders. Here are the two stem pieces you can use with your flowers. And a lot of these dies have more than one die cut on one die. Like this one has the branch and two tiny leaves. So it is 24 pieces, but you're actually getting a lot more die cuts than that because of the doubling up of the images on one plate. So these are gorgeous, and I think we should try to make a card with every single flower in this set. What do you think? Okay, I am die cutting out a window into this slimline panel because I want to make a shaker card. So I am now going to use these two dies together to create this really pretty, like almost doily-like frame to go around that shaker. For my sentiment, I am pulling out the stamp set, the clear stamp set of the month, another club kit from Trinity, and stamping out the word thinking of you. I'm going to temporarily adhere my panel to the back of my shaker just so I make sure I get the sentiment stamped, so it's going to show up nicely in the window, and then it's easier to line up later after everything is put together. So I did that with VersaFine Onyx black ink so I can emboss it because I love embossing. It's like my first love of card making is embossing with powder. Okay, and the reason I'm embossing it is so that I can spray over the top. So I spritz this watercolor paper with some water, and then I'm using my Distress Mica spray stain in Jack-O-Lantern, and then I'm going to spray it with water. Now I just am going to kind of go back and forth between water, drying, dabbing, spraying again until I get the look that I want. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I am keeping my embossing gun kind of farther away, moving it around, being careful of my already embossed sentiment. And there is my finished panel. I love the look of this, and it's going to look great behind the window. So for the window, I'm covering it with a window sheet, and then before I went any further, I decided I want a little bit of splatter on the front with the same mica spray stain in that jack-o'-lantern. So I did that. It took a while to dry on this colored cardstock. Like here, it's still not even dry, and like I went and had breakfast and came back. You got to be patient with these things. Okay, so now I just lined up everything that I wanted, all my flowers how I wanted. Now I ran out of my press and seal wrap, so I used this sticky mat that's like one you would use for your cameo silhouette or whatnot, and I also use it inside my Misty to hold my paper in place, and it's such a good idea. My friend Annette told me about it and gave me this sheet, and so here's another way to use it. It does take a little bit more finesse to peel it off than cling wrap, but you know, I had this on hand and I didn't have the cling wrap. So I just put glue on the back of everything, laid it back down where I wanted it on my card, and then I had a few pieces that were like too much on top of all the other pieces in order for them to stick down. So I just resituated them and it worked out so well. Okay, now that that's glued down, I can go ahead and start adding my foam tape, putting every piece edge to edge with the previous piece so that it will not let my shaker bits escape. And this one was really important because I am using micro beads. These don't even have a hole in them. They're just clear micro beads. And so they're super tiny. I want to make sure there's no cracks or crevices for them to escape because it's not as fun to get a shaker card and your little bits are falling out. So did you see what I did there? I covered up the back of my shaker with another window sheet, so it's easier for me to now line it up with my saying. It would be too hard to rest all those tiny microbeads on top of the saying and try to put that down. So that's a trick I learned from my friend Cassie Trask. Thank you, Cassie. All right, now I added that to my card base, and I just kept adding flowers because I hadn't used any of these like really simple flowers, so those were space fillers, and I added a few. Later, I added a few more. I just kind of, you know, sometimes you have to look away and come back and realize, yeah, I can stick it there. Like, you just got to be patient with your cards and let them talk to you. Do your cards talk to you? It might just be me. I'm the crazy card lady. All right, so now I'm trimming off any that hangs off the edge of the card, and that gives it a really polished look. But it is hard for me. I have to say, it always makes me sad to cut off my flowers. All right, I'm adding some embellishments. These are clear, like baubles, so they're rounded and they look white when I'm putting them down. That's just because of the glue behind them, but when the glue dries clear, then you'll be able to see the blue paper through these, and they really look like water droplets. They're really cool. So I'll show you that in just a second, but they're called boiled sugar drops, and I'll link them for you below, as with all the club kits from Spellbinders, so you can check out all the different offerings. They have new things this year, like a kit that has stitching dies and a 3D embossing folder, which I will be sharing with you very soon. So stay tuned for that video. I also had another stem left, and this other center of the flower I added on as another flower. So yeah, I just kept going, and there you can see those water droplets on there. They look so good, and they're clear just like the shaker bits I use, so I like that. So that completes card number 1. Now we're going to make a simple version because, yeah, you can make a card with every single die in that set, but sometimes we don't have time for that. Sometimes we want to make a card that's quick and have time left to, you know, like do the dishes or something crazy like laundry. Crazy. So I took this circle, which I used to mask off my window on my first card whenever I did the splatter on the card front, the blue card front, and was sitting there and was like, hey, I would look cute on a card. See how my cards talk to me? Okay, I'm adding a stem to this flower. This is the one I love the most. I decided to use it again. Speaking of using it again, this is the clear stamp set of the month. It has this giant cluster of flowers, and I just appreciate so much how Spellbinders has their club kits coordinate with each other. So if you're like me and you get more than one of the club kits, you can mix and match them together, but they also work really well all by themselves. So very cool. All right, I'm taking some of the same fired brick ink that I used to stamp my background and just dusted the corners, the edges with that. And now I can start building my card. So I added that circle. You see how the edge was cut off? You just put it up against the edge of the card. It's perfect. And then I added my flower. I did die cut tiny leaves to go with that, but I just decided I liked the plain stem. And now I'm adding some embellishments. These are rhinestones, and they have like an iridescent finish, and they're a really soft orange tint. So these I thought would be really fun for this card. And I have to tell you, it's really hard for me to make simple cards. I wanted to keep adding stuff to this card, but I wanted to just keep it simple and show you that this die set is going to dress up pretty much any card you put it with. So that is the large die of the month for January 2023 from Spellbinders. If you would like to see more videos using Spellbinder dies, I do the Spellbinders large die of the month every month for a couple years now. So I'll have a playlist of Spellbinder videos for you right here to check out next. And I will see you very soon with another Spellbinders Club Kit video. Happy stamping! Bye!